The Apple Vision Pro is available to buy in America and will be coming out in the United Kingdom of Tea Dunkin' Biscuits rather soon indeed. However, I am really quite worried about this headset and what it might do for virtual reality. And I think my worries are a little bit different to the worries that I think other people have been having or what other people have been saying for this headset. So fasten your seatbelts and let's have a little bit of a pointless natter about VR from the perspective of a nerd that just happens to like VR. Thanks for subscribing and thanks for watching. So, the Apple VR Vision Pro headset. On the face of it, I was actually really excited about the Apple Vision Pro initially because the big thing is it's nice to see more competition in the VR space, or they call it facial computing or some other made-up term. But it's really nice to just see big companies throw money into VR and AR, and obviously I think AR is just very obvious that it's going to be the future for computing devices. It's just so obviously the future. Obviously in the future it will literally just be shades, possibly even contact lenses, or I think unlikely because that has to touch your skin and stuff. But shades that you put on, and then you've got an infinite screen and you've got full augmented reality, full gaming, IMAX cinema, desktop computer. It has that basic utility, or it will offer the utility of having as many screens as you want, or changing reality, seeing in the dark, doing whatever you want because you can, it's augmented reality. So that's clearly the future. But as we're marching towards that future, it's a bit weird what some companies seem to be doing. And with the Apple Vision Pro, I was hoping that they would be pushing things forwards. And I was really hoping that they would actually massively push things forwards in terms of augmented reality and making things more user friendly, having the marketing behind Apple. What the iPad and the iPod did for phones, or the iPhone, and what the iPod did for music players. I was really hoping that Apple would do that for VR. But the reality is, and from everything we've seen so far, the Apple Vision Pro looks basically to be a worse device than the Quest 3 in many ways. Like, it does seem that it's got a high resolution screen, the video pass through, and using the eye tracking to navigate the user interface. All that stuff looks like it's really well done. And there's some really nice tech in there. It seems like it's got a really high-spec computer in it that's on your face. Great. But, crucially, where I think Apple have really dropped the ball on this, and where I didn't think they would drop the ball, is that the headset is really quite heavy with a separate battery. So it's heavy without the battery actually in the headset, and you've got a separate cable. And also, effectively, closes you off from reality as much as a standard PC VR headset, or as much as a Quest 3 would do. So, yeah, they've got this screen that gives you this ability to see your eyes. You can see in all the promotional photos for other people looking at you as an attempt to make it look like the person's not closed off. But if you look at any of the other people actually using this headset, this screen is terrible, and it doesn't look like the promotional material in reality. So it's not going to be long before people go, hang on a minute, they still look like they're totally closed off. Also, this screen is really low resolution. Also, the eyes don't line up with the person's face in so much stuff that I've seen. But then the headset, the closing off component of it just seems totally crazy, because if you've used a Quest 3, you can put that headset on, and if you take the visor off and you just run it without a visor, so you basically just have glasses without a visor, and then you have to use a head strap to do this, then you use it as an AR device. You not only get what you get through the screen, but you can see reality at the sides, which then makes you feel like you actually have a really wide field of view in AR, which, if you look at the Apple Vision Pro, when you look at all the stuff, it's got a lower base field of view than the Quest 3, And then obviously the side and the design of it means that you wouldn't be able to see out the sides anyway. So you're having to still look through the headset in this closed VR space. So it genuinely looks like it's a worse AR device than the Quest 3, and also a worse VR device. And then they built it out of nice metallic material, heavy strap, glass. It's all really heavy stuff. Even with the battery separate, it's really heavy. It's like Apple have completely lost the plot. Like, if it was me designing a VR headset, if I'm like, right, what is the biggest problem with VR for your average consumer? What is it? Well, it's not field of view, really. It's not resolution, really. It's not even necessarily the software or what it can fundamentally do in terms of the quality of the games or the things on it, though you want that to be as good as possible. The core problem for VR, the biggest problem, is you have to put something on your head. So the entire focus for making VR mainstream, especially a productive AR headset that's not really about raw gaming, it's more about consuming content or using it as a computer monitor or work monitor, like a head-mounted machine. The entire focus should be around making it as small as possible. Like it should be glasses. They should basically abandon just about everything for the sake of making it glasses. And given that it's just mental to me that they've got this separate battery cable, but then they've not put the compute device onto that. It doesn't make any sense. What are they thinking? Surely you would think something that's more along the lines of Big Screen Beyond, which is some pretty nice thin goggles, and then you have the cable going to a separate computing device, so you have something that's genuinely light, genuinely doesn't need a head strap, doesn't mess up your hair, can be portable. You would think that would be the mainstream thing. It's like Apple have completely ignored where VR is at. All the previous lessons that have been learnt with all the current devices, all the problems. It's like they're still operating in like 90s paradigm of what VR should be, which we've learnt time and time again with virtuality and other VR headsets, that people do not want to put chunky crap on their head. Like, even if it was amazing, they're not going to want to do it. I would say, obviously, for flight sims, for training, or for racing simulators, in that scenario, you actually might want to put something more clunky on your head, because you're sat down and you are sacrificing that basic comfort for absolute sheer immersion, which makes sense for short-term training things or for absolute hardcore gamers. But it doesn't make sense for people that are your average person that wants a really comfortable computing device. It's madness. Now, the price of it is like $3,500. I'm not actually that bothered about the price of it. I think if it worked and if it was comfortable, it didn't really matter what it cost, because Apple are clearly just going to sell this to Apple fanboys and fangirls who will they'll buy anything really. But I don't know. Is this just me that's being crazy with this? Like, just thinking that Apple have completely missed the mark on this. So my worry, though, is that initially the fanboys and the Apple fanatics will buy this headset and they'll be like, oh yeah, that's cool. And they'll be new to VR in general. They'll be new to the experience. So the 3D stuff, some of the aspects of AR and video pass-through will be like, oh, that's really cool. The eye tracking and stuff, they'll be like, oh, that's really cool. There'll be a bit of buzz. And then the reality of the headset being uncomfortable will kick in, and the reality of them not having software or much software on it or any actual particular use for the device compared to just using a tablet will set in. And I worry that there'll just be this huge like, oh no, that's it. No, I bought it. I'm an Apple fanboy, but yeah, I'm not going to use it. And it just gets put to one side and forgotten. And then the downside of that is that Apple will then be like, well, I know we tried VR, so we're not going to bother with it anymore. That's it. We've done that. And that's it. And then when you see, if you have other companies, I thought this might happen with Facebook and Meta and the Oculus, that they might buy the DK2 and artificially push it forwards and then just realise it's going to take a lot longer to actually generate revenue from it. But fortunately, as much as you might not like Facebook and Meta, they have actually kept with it, and they have, kept improving it bit by bit, and I think it'll just keep getting lighter, and it does make sense. It doesn't look like they're going to abandon it. But I could totally see Apple really just abandoning this. So I really, really hope that Apple fanboys are like, maybe using the device. Maybe it will change my mind if I use it. Maybe the compromises. Maybe it makes sense. But so far, I can't see it. So I'm hoping that Apple fanboys are even more stupid than I would think, because I think they'd have to be very, very especially stupid to stay with an Apple headset versus a Quest 3, for example, which just seems to do more for a quarter of the price. Let's hope that this is also just Apple getting something out there to attract developers so that they can continue doing more AR stuff, and they have a really long-term plan with it, and then they will do a next device which will be smaller and even better. But I think it's a shock to me, because when Apple have been successful, generally what's happened is they have looked at this space, they have waited a bit, and then they have done their version of what is a incredibly user-friendly version of the device in that space at a premium price with premium build quality integrated into the Apple ecosystem with the Apple marketing. And so the iPod, the iPhone, some of the older, like the iMacs, some of those kind of things, the older Apple devices, they all really did stand out as very user-friendly, sort of top, they would stand out in the mass of other computer or consumer tech products. It'd be like, the Apple version, yeah, eventually it's not the best version, but when it first comes out, it's like, that is an easy to use, really cool implementation of the current general where we are with a certain technology, with computers, with MP3 players, with iPhones. So I'm just surprised. I really don't get the Vision Pro. I hope I'm wrong. They've not shown anything in any of the marketing where I've gone, that looks. I'm a VR fan. I love VR and I love AR, and I'm totally receptive to it, and I'm fully wanting to embrace it. Other than the eye tracking access in the menus, which I think is a really nice feature, and that's probably how people will interact with computers in the future. Other than that, which I don't think is the biggest thing for a lot of people, why would you put this on to make a phone call? Why would you not just use your phone or just listen to people? It's like video calling. If it doesn't really work. What does work, but it's too inconvenient with current VR headsets, is when you actually have that sense of those people being in the actual space as 3D avatars. But obviously with the current VR headsets, that's too cumbersome, and still you just use a bloody telephone, wouldn't you? But you don't. How is this better? It doesn't make any sense. Right, guys, that's my rant on the Apple. It looks nice, but yeah, that's my thoughts. Do you think I'm crazy, guys? Am I absolutely crazy about this? Do you agree with me that Apple have completely missed the mark potentially? Or are they totally right? Or is it irrelevant because people will just go by the marketing and do what they're told to do? I hope they do just go by the marketing, and I hope this works out, because I think if it does work out, it's better for everyone. Right, that's enough whinging and wittering. That's my cathartic rant about the new Apple Vision Pro. Till the next one, guys. Let me know if you like this kind of rant stuff. I don't even know if it's a good idea. But happy tea drinking. Take care and goodbye.